3:38, right? Yeah.
We were earlier.
Hi. So sorry.
I'm Min. Min.
Nim.
Min.
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 Nim.
Min.
M.
Okay. Huh?
M. Min.
Min. Oh, okay. There you go. You can sit further up and you can see a little bit better. You're Clara, right?
Kara.
Okay, cool. All right, so Tim actually called in sick this morning, and so we're not going to do yoga. So typically he starts with yoga, and then I'll do the second part. And so now I get to do the whole thing. And since none of you was here last week we did the breathing exercise. So for those who are familiar with yoga practice, you know that there are 8 limbs of yoga, and we typically do what's called asana, which is just the body, and then there's another branch of that that's called pranayama, which is the breathing exercise. So my practice actually alternate between the two, and so one exercise I can do is called Yi Jin Jing, which is a Qigong practice, and done by Bodhidhama, a North Indian yogi that visited China probably 1600 years ago, and he was actually the patriarch of the Shaolin martial art, and then also the what is now called Zen meditation. He basically started the whole practice. The other practice that we alternate, is a breathing exercise that he also traced back to ancient China, basically learning to breathe with the diaphragm. Okay, so so last week we did the breathing exercise, and so maybe we try the Qigong exercise today, right? Now the idea of Qi is often called energy, and sometimes we add the word called life energy. And the Western perspective is that our existence is our physical body, so therefore the energy must be part of our physical existence. But that's actually not true. If you go from the North Indian tradition, they think of our existence in these 5 layers. The body is only one, and then energy is in the middle and so forth. Now, they actually have a very complicated way of thinking about energy, and for them, it's actually the energy of the universe that happens to pass through a body. And so when the Chinese learned that, they abstracted, because the North Indians think that there's like 72,000 or 74 energy channels, and those who practice yoga know that there's something called chakra, which is the intersect of these energy bodies called nadi. The Chinese think that that's too complicated, where we can teach that. But they have an advantage. They actually study astrology. And so they understand that, long before Galileo understand that Jupiter, they understood it many years ago, maybe 5,000 years ago, they already understood that Jupiter actually travels around the sun every 60 years. And they actually start to understand that, oh, there's actually not just one planet, there are 5 planets. And so it takes, every 12 years. And it takes 60 years for everything to come back into its original configuration. So that's why in Chinese it's a big deal that you celebrate 60th birthday. And so it's not important that I say that I was born in the year of the monkey. I have to say that I was born in the year of the meadow monkey. So not only do you have 12 zodiac, you actually have 5 elements: the water, the vegetation, the fire, the soil, and then the mineral. And the Chinese took that North Indian understanding of energy and they abstracted into 12 meridians. 6 of them is influenced by the sun, 6 of them is influenced by the absence of the sun. And these 12 energy lines actually travels throughout our body. And the simple consequence of that energy is like the plumbing. If you always have running water in your plumbing, you don't have to worry about freezing the water pipe. It's the same idea. So our practice starts with clearing these energy lines so that the energy between the earth and this heaven can travel through our body. And then when we finish, we will do a practice called Yi Jin Jing. And so easy to remember would be YJJ. Yi means to exchange, to renew. Jing sometimes is translated into tendon, but actually it should be translated into connective tissue. So the Western scientists have started to understand these meridians. These meridians are actually communication channels through our connective tissues. So the first thing we're going to do today is to learn how to sit in such a way that we become the conduit of the energy that is between the earth and the heaven. And so first thing we do is that we examine our body, we anchor our mind on the very bottom of our spine. I use the word anchor as opposed to mindfulness, because mindfulness in the traditional sense is something that you don't actually use your thinking on. It's really more about the sensation. So I use the word anchor. I want you to anchor your mind on the very bottom of your spine. I want you to slowly walk up the spine towards the top of the head. And as you do that, I want you to stretch the spine one joint at a time. Stretch it as hard as you can, as if you're hanging your spine on the ceiling. And then I want you to lean back, and as you lean back, I want you to continue to observe your body and feel the lightness in your body, because you're putting the weight of your upper torso now on your spine as opposed to relying on your back muscle. And I want you to relax the spine. I want you to now take your shoulder and lift up your shoulder as if you're bringing your shoulder to your ears. And then I want you to open the shoulder as far back as you can, as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. And then now I want you to drop your shoulder, relax your shoulder. Now we're ready to do some massage, and I call that Tai Chi massage. We're going to be doing some massage, some acupressure, some tapping, some scraping, all that. Different modality to clear your meridians. The only thing that we don't do is we don't do acupuncture, which requires a needle and some professional training. So I want you to take up your left hand. I want you to examine your left hand. I want you to look at your fingers. We're going to start at the fingertips. So we're going to bring out our right hand, using a thumb, and very gently massage the tip of these fingertips, of your fingers. Now the tip happens to be a very important place where energy exchange. When energy is flowing out of a body into the universe, we call it yang, the influence of the sun. And then return, we call it yin, the influence of the absence of the sun. Now I want you to then massage each one of the joints. And as you massage, it's very important that your mind stays with your body and observe the change in your body as you massage your joints. I want you to feel to see if there's any heat, if there's any pain, any numbness. We're actually doing mindfulness. It's what I call mindfulness in motion. You don't do mindfulness by only sitting down. You can actually do mindfulness when you sit down, when you stand up, when you lie down, when you walk, including when you exercise. Now I want you to train your hands, and now work on it from the back of your hand. And again, starting with the fingertip. And this side, I want you to use your thumb and your index fingers and just kind of squeeze between the corners of the fingernails. Very carefully. Again, never leave your body. Continue to examine the change in your body. And now we're going to work on the joints now, from the back of the hand. And very gently. And it's important that As you work on the joints, you stay focused on the joints. And when you leave from one joint to the other, you leave the past behind and focus on the present. Same thing with the fingers. Once you finish with the finger, you leave it behind. Now we're going to work on the back of the hand. A lot of the problems is because we don't have enough yang energy in this. So I want you to take your hand and form a fist and use your right fingers and slide it between the knuckles. And then the same thing on the other side. Now all the massage and tapping and everything that we do will come in handy when we do the YJJ. And I want you to look at the back of your hand, you see these bones. Each fingers have individual bones. I want you to take the right thumb and just kind of slide between the bones and massage back of the hand. Now it turns out that there's 3 energy points that are very important. They're named after yang, because these are like the openings to your yang meridians. One of the one in the back, so I talked about that we have 12 meridians, 6 yang, 6 yin. 6 of them are originated from your fingertips. The one inside is away from the sun, the one in the back is facing the sun. And now I want you to look at your index fingers, follow your index fingers until you get to the top of your wrist. Now you take your thumb and you put that on top of your wrist and move your wrist around, and you can clearly feel a indentation. Now I want you to use the thumb and just kind of push down, do some upward pressure, and just kind of move it around a little bit. You feel a little bit of numbness, that's what you want. Same thing on the other side. Now this energy point has a name. It's called a pond of yang. Pond, as if that's where the yang energy would come, a small pond. There's another one along the thumb. So if you look at along the thumb, when you get to the wrist, you take your thumb, you put it there, and you move it around, and sure enough, there's a cavity. So just kind of push down, and then massage. And then the other side, on the small finger, same thing. And just push down. And then same thing on the other side, along the thumb, push down. And then push down. So how do you know when you need that kind of work? Well, we have something called yang deficiency. You don't have enough yang energy. You get very tired. You get very tired easily. Or you get very cold. The bottom of your feet is always cold. And so these are the points that would help with increasing the flow of the yang energy. Now, we left out the thumb. The thumb is very important. So I want you to massage the thumb. And then if you think of the thumb as like a drumstick, there's a meaty part in here. And this is actually a very important part of your meridian. This is a part that is part of the meridian that we named after the lung. And so just kind of use your index fingers and your thumb, use it as a pincher, and just pinch it around, and then use your knuckle and just drill in there, drill in there. Yeah. There's another energy point right in the middle. I call that the chamber of labor. This is the only energy point out of the 360 some energy points in the body that actually will give out energy. Therefore, we call that the healing energy. So I want you to use the knuckle and just kind of drill into that. And then drill into that. And I want you to put the thumbs together and just kind of rub it together. And then put the right hand on top of the left hand, squeeze the fingers, and really, really massage the fingers. Now, the Chinese believe that the fingers contains all your energy points in your body. And so I recommend that you do this regularly, and you'll find that it relieves the pain in the body. And so the Chinese believe that pain is a result of blockage of the meridians. And if you can clear the meridians, you reduce pain. In fact, the word Qi has 2 ways of writing it. One way is just air and rise. And the other one is 2 ways to explain that word. One is that the top of that word means sky, earth, and the energy in between. But the other way to interpret it is no fire. So the Chinese actually believe that this Qi practice is to reduce inflammation in your body. How does it do that? It restores the yin-yang harmony. What does that mean? Well, modern people has a problem. We are under stress all the time. So we are constantly in fight or flight. What happens when you're in fight or flight? That's when you're outside in the sun. That's when you're outside of the cave. You're in danger. Your body reacts to that. That's part of evolution. So it puts on a lot of stress hormone. One of the stress hormones that it puts on is called cortisol. Cortisol is a steroid. Its only purpose is to reduce inflammation. So that's a good thing, right? Except that when you're under stress all the time, then you develop something called cortisol resistance, meaning that you're losing your own self-healing power. And so Qigong practice, in a simple way, speaking modern language, is to restore cortisol sensitivity, is to restore the harmony, the balance in your autonomous nervous system. And so we continue, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some scraping, and because we don't have a lot of time, and so we're going to scrape only in the back of the hand. Now, I do this 2-3 times a day, especially before I sleep. And very often, I wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm sure all of you do, I'm moving a lot. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And one of which is that your body inflames, and there's a lot of discomfort that you cannot describe. And so this scraping practice is actually very good. Now the back of the hand is yang energy. The middle is a meridian that we call triple warmer. And when I have time, I'll explain that. And then along the thumb, that's the large intestine. Along the small finger, that's the small intestines. It's very interesting that when the Chinese talk about the yang meridians, they talk about clearing the qi. And then when they talk about the yin meridian inside, they call it cultivating the qi. That's exactly the word that we want to use. Clearing the qi means let the body release stress hormone so you can heal yourself, reduce the chronic inflammation. And then cultivating qi means the opposite, which is that stop releasing cortisol. Stop activating your vagus nerve and restore that sensitivity to your own healing agent. So one way to do scraping, and you can get all kinds of tools for that, you go to Amazon and just look for Huat Sa. Huat means to scrape, and Sa means sand, but that's a different story. So the easiest way to do that, now when I fly to when I travel and I'm stuck in the plane for 12 hours, 13 whatever, my body aches, right? But I don't have too much room. I only have like this much. So it's not like I can do a lot of exercise. But it turns out that one exercise I do is scraping. And because I can do that within my space. So I want you to look at your left hand, identify the middle, and then identify the bone. And right between the bone and the middle is the large intestinal meridian. Now I want you to take your right hand, use the knuckle, and just kind of scrape that from the elbow all the way down to the wrist, and then back. Now I want you to scrape the middle, same thing from the elbow. You feel pain, but it's a pleasant kind of thing. And then now I want you to scrape along the small fingers. And then I want you to scrape the back of your hand, scrape the fingers, scrape the thumb. Now for those of you who are kind of my age, you suffer from arthritis. Arthritis is chronic inflammation. And so scraping actually reduces the pain from arthritis. Many of you use your hand, use your fingers for your work. You're a therapist. Your hand and your fingers are your tools. But I'm not a therapist, but I am a writer. So I use mouse and I use it, and you get this what's called carpal tunnel, and that's chronic inflammation. Right? And so this scraping really helps. Now let's go to the right hand. Again, we identify the middle, we identify the bone. Let's scrape between the bone and the middle, from the elbow to the wrist. Now, if you have a scraping tool, small finger and come back. Okay? Now, typically we skip the inside as well, and but maybe we'll skip that for now because a lot of times when I feel the benefit you get from scraping the back of my hand is significant. So I typically just kind of scrape like this. Right? Now sometimes you can scrape on the bone. That helps a lot too. Okay. Now one thing to explain is that you would say, well, where's the bone? The bone has no meridian. The bone has no meridians. Except that when we talk about meridians, we only talk about this. We don't talk about the cross flow. The cross flow is very important. And so the bone is actually where the energy flows across. And now there's a difference between energy points in the Chinese understanding versus chakra in the North Indian understanding. They're not the same. A lot of people confuse them and they think that they're the same. They're not the same. Chakra in the Indian traditions, they're talking about the intercept of this energy point line, which is very similar, except that chakra is the door to another dimension. It's a spiritual practice. Whereas the Chinese, the energy points are really just how the energy flows across. So anyway, so we're going to do 2 more finger exercise. Okay, now that we kind of massage our fingers, massage the back of the hand, we're going to do 2 more finger exercises. The first one's very simple. But the idea behind it is kind of mysterious. It has to do with the fingers and it has to do with understanding of when the 5 elements, I talk about 5 elements, the water, the soil, the sun, the water, the vegetation, the sun, and then the soil, the mineral. Now, you can imagine how important it is to have harmony between the 5 elements. The water is a source of life. So that's why when we explore the space, the first thing we look for is water. At least our way of understanding life form starts with water. So water is a source of life. But once you have water, you have to have vegetation. Once you have vegetation, it's easy in planet Earth, it changes the atmosphere till the sun comes in. The sun can actually break through the layer. And then the soil will warm up. Now the soil is where you find mineral. And when the mineral appear, then it adds life into the water. So you can imagine that these 5 elements have a constructive effect. But the Chinese philosophy is such that in order for us to have harmony, it has to be a restoring, a restraining effect. So you can imagine that whereas the water enhances the vegetation, it also constrains the fire. Right? The fire constrains the, and so forth. I don't want to get too complicated. But you can imagine that all these 5 elements have a way of maintaining harmony. Now, the Chinese believe that the fingers represent the 5 elements, and the 5 elements actually represents internal organs. They believe that the kidney is water, they believe that the liver is vegetation, and they believe that the heart is the sun, and they believe that the splint, something that is not important in the Western perspective, very important in the Chinese perspective, is the soil. And then finally, the lung is the mineral. And so these 5 fingers actually represents all of our elements. And it's a very simple exercise where you take the thumb and the index fingers and you squeeze as hard as you can. Then you take your thumb and the middle finger and you squeeze as hard as you can. And then you take your thumb and the ring finger and you squeeze as hard as you can. And then now back to the one last thing is the small finger. And you squeeze as hard as you can. You continue and you put your thumb in the middle of the index finger and you squeeze. Middle of the middle finger and you squeeze. Middle of the ring finger and you squeeze. Middle of the small finger and you squeeze. This is a very ancient technique and it's rediscovered by a retired professor in Taiwan. It's very popular now. And people have demonstrated that it reduces your chance of having a stroke. Or if you have a stroke, it's a way of doing physical therapy. And all it is about balancing the yin and the yang by understanding the relationship between the five elements. So most of us, when we talk about yin and yang, we only talk about like there's a black and a white. Actually, that's not correct. Yin and yang, the yang is when you energize something, the yin is when you restrain something. And so the yin and yang is actually about the five elements. The next exercise we're going to do along with the fingers is that again we stretch, open, lean back, relax. We look straight ahead, we point our fingers forward, lock the elbow, we roll up the forefingers, we lock it with the thumb. The forefingers are the springs, we line up the spring, but we don't let it come out yet. We hold it and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We continue, we open the shoulder, straighten up our back, relax the shoulder, and then we take our hand and we take the thumb and the middle fingers, we touch them, and then we stretch out the other three. We call this the lotus hand. We put the lotus hand in front of the shoulder, we open the shoulder, there's an energy point here called a gate to the cloud. Now, the back of the hand is facing the front. Get ready? 1. Back of the hand is facing the front. We twist that hand. Come back. Lotus hand. Sit up straight. If you could, bend your hip forward and lean back. So you put some pressure in the back where the kidneys are. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now you notice that we're working from the fingertips all the way up. This is the part that we do with the arm, that's good for carpal tunnel. The part that we do with the shoulder, that's good for your frozen shoulder, right? There's something called a frozen shoulder that around when you get to the middle age, something around 50, maybe even 40 something, all the way to 60, all of a sudden the shoulder is frozen up, and this is a good exercise for that. Now, I'm going to turn around, because we're going to work on the back of our okay. Now I want you to sit up straight again. Sit up straight again. Open your shoulder, lean back, and this time I want you to lean back the forehead. Like putting the ears on top of your shoulder, and then tucking the chin slightly so the top of the head is facing the sky. I want you to take your hand, use your thumb, and then come down from the skull on both sides of the neck until you find that cavity. This is the part that we call that the pond of the wind. Now, wind is something that you cannot see, you cannot taste, you cannot smell, but you can feel. So wind is the Chinese way of explaining nerve. And so very often we have a headache, and it's because of the blockage of the chi. So I want you to take your thumb now and just push down. Don't use a fingernail. And then lean back your neck, and we're doing some acupressure. And then relax. Now take your right hand, put that on the left, push down with your fingers, and grab the left side of the neck and pull it to the right. Same thing on the other side. Push down with the forefingers, grab the right side of the neck, and pull it towards the left. Now lift up the ears and use your fingers and massage this point. Now this is a magical point, and the Western medical science understand that this is the beginning of your vagus nerve. And now I want you to grab it and just massage across. Massage across, and massage across. Now do the same thing on the other side, and just massage across, massage across, massage across. Now take the left ear, push down, and massage the tip, and then just kind of bring it down, glide along the bone. Massage, massage. The other way, and glide along the bone. Now I want you to take your thumb and just going to massage this point, and then go towards this, at this point it's called the Wait, just go towards that and then stop in the middle. And then massage. As you push down your tongue, you feel that release of stress. And if you don't sleep well, this is a good point to massage. Okay, now I want you to squeeze. Now the difference between what we do here and what typically people call massage therapy is that we don't actually massage muscle and tendon. What we massage are the energy points. So these two energy points, just kind of squeeze that. And then now in the middle, squeeze that. And then right here, and squeeze that. Okay? All right. So that clears. The energy towards the top of the head. Now we're going to work on the left side of the neck. Okay? So I want you to look straight ahead, turn your head to the right, and look down. And then now you feel this tendon here, just kind of straight down a bit. Do the same thing, look straight ahead, turn it to the left, and look down, and scrape this one over here. Now I want you to massage your shoulder. This is a very important energy point here called the whale on the shoulder. Just put your finger here and massage. And then just massage your shoulder all the way around, especially when you feel that there's cavity. Massage all around. And then there's one energy point here that's very helpful. Just come down here. And then same thing over here. Massage. Go around. Okay, alright. So now we're going to massage our face. First, what we're going to do is we put our hands together and just kind of rub it. Now, when I say that this is the only energy point that puts out energy, it actually puts out infrared light. And this is actually being verified. And so I want you to, after you rub it down, it's very important that you use your mind, you focus your mind, and essentially the palm of your fingers, right? And then you take your left hand, you form what's called an empty hand, you put that on the left eye. You take the right hand, you form what's called an empty hand, you put that on the right eye. Now I want you to open your eyes, and if you see any kind of light, move your fingers around so you don't see light, you see only darkness, okay? Alright, first time. Rub your hands together, put that in front of your eye, open your eyes, don't feel very much, right? Now, it's very interesting, the second time you feel it, because the eye, all of a sudden says, oh, it's infrared, I better adjust to it. You feel that. And then finally, when you do this on your own, you might want to stay a little longer, okay? Now we'll massage our forehead, massage the side of the nose, and then massage the side of the face, and then put this energy point on the temple and massage your temple. Now we use your fingers to massage in between the eyebrows. And we move up little by little. You feel a lot of stress here until you get to this tip here. Okay? Now you come back and you use your index finger, you massage the beginning of the eyebrow, on top of the eyebrow. Massage your forehead. And then massage your skull, and then massage on top of your ear and block the face. So I typically do this in the morning. I recommend my students don't put the wake up on. Alright, so now it turns out that massaging the eye, right, as we age, and most of my students, Cantonese speaking, other than my army of Cantonese speaking grandmothers. Mom was celebrating her 89th birthday this year, and she's not even the oldest. And so we typically have a lot of problem with the eyes. So eye massage out to be very important. So I want you to take the index finger, put that in the beginning of the eyebrow, push in, right? And then relax. Put the fingers in between the eyebrow and just massage the eyebrow. Massage the eyebrow as if you're squeezing a toothpaste, because normally there are 3 energy points on the eyebrow. There are a lot of tubes that carry oil into the eye, and if they get stuck, you get dry eye as you age. Now you take this right thumb, you put that below the eye bag, and you massage. And then same thing on the right side. Now you take your index fingers, two fingers and massage all the way here. Second time. Then you take the index finger, you push down right below your eye bed. Then you put it on two sides of the nose, you come down, you feel the bone, and right below the bone, you push it. You massage right here, and then you massage your head. And then finally, you will massage your ear. So now the ears is a very interesting part. The Chinese believe that the ear contains all of the energy points. It's actually a mirror image of everything that you have. And that's why they said, that's why the ear has the shape of the fetus. Because when you were a fetus inside the mother's womb, you start with that, and then it's kind of reflect into your ear. So we divide the ear into three parts. We put a thumb on the top, 4 fingers in the back, massage. Middle, massage. And then put your index finger on the bottom, massage the back. Massage the tip, yank. Massage the edge. And then massage the ear loop. Leave the thumb behind the ear loop. Put your index fingers outside of the ear and massage. And then we massage the back of the ear. Massage the back of the ear. And then we call something called drumming the ear. We put the hand behind, and then we cover the ear, we stretch, and then we go 1, 2, and 3. Alright? Now we're starting to do some tapping, and we're going to work from the top of the head to the bottom of the head, and just give us enough time to do Yi Jin Jing. Okay? So first I want you to stretch your spine, lift up your shoulder, lift it up as high as you can, as if you're hanging your spine at the ceiling. Then I want you to open the shoulder as far back as you can, and then relax the shoulder, relax up the torso. Yeah. Then I want you to lean back the forehead, put the ears on top of the shoulder, and tuck in your chin. This energy point here, with a 100 beat, where all the yang energy comes together. I want you to take the fingers, put that on top. Now this is something that I do for my dad. He passed away a few years back. He was suffering from dementia. Every day I do this. He gains a little bit of his memory back. So I want you to tap to the top of the head, up and down like this. Now, we're going to do this 30 times, but it's very important that you count as you tell, because it's very important that you concentrate on the top of the head. You ready? Go. Okay, now I want you to take the fingertip, lock the fingernail, and just kind of massage your skull. 1, all the way down to the neck. 2, all the way down to the neck. 3, all the way down to the neck. And then put it above the ear. 1, 2, and then 3. Now I'm going to continue to tap until we get to the bottom of the feet. So the next one, the Chinese believe that there are 8 cavities in the body that are called longevity cavities. They happen to be the warmest part of your body. And the first one is in the armpit. So the armpit is the breathing that starts with the small fingers. They're inside, so they're yin, and this is part of the heart. But the Chinese doesn't distinguish heart as in the physical organ or the mind. Right? The two are connected. So it comes around here, and this is a muscle that you don't want to lose this muscle. And so we're going to stretch that by taking the elbow and put that on top of the head. Look straight ahead, so we're stretching this. Then we pinch the right ear, we turn our head to the right, we take up our right hand, we form empty hand, we put that on the left side, we listen with your left ear. Okay, ready? Continue. Now make sure you use empty hand. You're exciting it with air. Okay, get ready? Go. Listen. Like you're playing an instrument. Okay, now the other side. Look straight ahead, so you're stretching this muscle. You turn your head to the left, you pinch your left ear, You take your left hand, you form empty hand, you listen. Okay, you're playing an instrument. Okay, ready? Go. Continue. Now that's the first two of the 8 longevity cavity, and I know this one because many years ago when I was trying to connect with my teenage son, he used to travel a lot, and he likes hiking. Normally hiking, he likes to hike very tall mountains, so that was my job, was to travel with him. So one day, we were in Africa, in Kenya, we were climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. It's when you get to the top, it's 18,000 feet, and I was dying there. And so I fall behind, and so I had a whole guide, and I got in the middle of the mountain. It was so cold. And I asked my guide, I said, what temperature is it? It's -40. I said, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? He says, at -40, they're the same. So how do I stay warm? That's the warmest part of the body. All right, another one is right here. Okay, so first we lock the elbow, use the right hand, wrap it around, fingers on top, palm on the side, we lift it up, we turn our head to the right, listen with the left ear. Again, two things, lock the elbow, use your empty hand, right? We're not trying to beat it into submission, we're actually trying to excite it with air. Okay, ready? Go. Continue. Lock, empty hand, right ear, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now we can move to the lower part of the body. And so the upper part of the body has to do with the heart, the lung, and everything else. Right? So the bottom of the body has to do with the liver, the split, and the kidney. So that's much more like metabolic. So we're going to work on that, and we're going to do it in pairs. So first pair we're going to do is the stomach split pair. Now, a lot of times we say, well, the stomach is not here, the stomach is somewhere else. Why do you put it? Well, unfortunately, that's just how people try to bring the Western science versus the Eastern science together. It's actually much more accurate to think of them as the earth element. So the stomach and the spleen is the earth element. So when you grow vegetable, the earth is very important, right? You must have water, you must have earth. And soil, you must have sun, you must have mineral, and eventually you add the seeds and you have vegetation. So the 5 elements are very important, particularly the soil. So what does the soil have to do? Well, the soil has to transport and transform. Transport is so that when you pour water in the soil, you just let it run through, and it doesn't soak, it's not central to the water. We know that, right? If you have too much water in the soil, it doesn't grow. It has to kind of channel the water. The other thing it does is that it has to transform. Right? The soil has to break down and has mineral for the plant to grow, right? Fertilizer. So the spleen and the stomach does exactly that. It is there to help you digest your food, and it's there to channel the fluid in the body. So there's a very important energy point right here. So you start with the knee, you measure 3 fingers, and you push down in here. This is called the sea of blood. And it's actually there. Blood in this case just means all all fluid, not just blood, all kinds of fluid in the body. And it's to clear clear the fluid of toxins. And it turns out to be a very important energy point if you're suffering from high cholesterol. The problem is that people think of the cholesterol itself as a disease. Cholesterol is not a disease. The disease is the fact that you have inflammation in your blood vessel, and your body is trying to fix itself by putting out cholesterol. So this energy point is a very important one if you have that. Now the way that we tap this is we use the edge of the fist. We form what's called an empty fist. So we're not trying to beat it, but just tap it, okay? And so keep your feet kind of flexible and sit up straight. Okay, ready? Go. Okay, now this is the splint. We're going to come to that. There's more to that. But then the next one, you work in pairs. So the next one is the stomach. Now, you come to the knee, you measure your 4 fingers, you feel the bone. It's right outside the bone, so you push it in, it's a little bit tender. Now this is a very important energy point. This one helps with your digestion, but not only that, it helps with. So now, just outside of that, okay, put your knees together. Okay, ready? Go. Okay, now measure another 4 fingers. Find the bone just right outside. Okay, now this one actually has the same function as the one in here. Also helping with your clearing the toxin of your bloodstream. Okay, ready? Go. Okay. So, all right. So now we work in another pair for the liver and gallbladder pair. Now the inside is liver. You ready? Sit up straight. And then close your knee, 2 energy point. Now these two are known to reduce your chance of having a stroke. Stroke again is inflammation in the blood vessel. Okay, ready? Second one. Okay, now we continue. There's 3 more energy points. Start. Okay, good. There's 2 more. Now this one, if you ever go to an acupuncturist, this is literally to the needle. This one actually improves your immunity. So it's on the outside. So if you find your knee and you just go right up on the outside, and you can't get any further up, there's a cavity right here. Okay, go. Okay, now in the middle. And then all the way down to the ankle, measure 4 fingers up. Now you feel a little tingling on the toes. Get ready? Go. Okay, all right. So now we get to the toes and open up your big toe and the second toe. Use your right finger and just use the edge and massage in between. This is your liver energy line. And then move to the next one. That's your stomach energy line. Move to the next one. And then move to the next one. And come back. And then now open up your toe, go inside before the bone join together, do the upward pressure here, and then come back and massage. Now, this one is the liver. And I mentioned that when the Chinese learn about energy from the yogis, they simplify it by these 12 meridians. Each one is active for 2 hours. The liver is active from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So if you find yourself waking up that time, we call that liver fire. And so this is the part that will help, okay? And pushing down on that will help. The other thing that will help is you turn your feet upside down, you bend your toes, you see this tendon, you scrape it. And then you relax, scrape the bottom of the feet, scrape the heel, scrape the ball area, massage the toes, massage in between the toes. Okay? And then this one, this is a very important part of your body as far as Qi therapy is concerned, is the arch. The front part of the arch is where the spleen energy goes. The back part of your arch is where the kidney energy goes. The kidney is water, water is the source of life. And then the spleen is earth. Earth is the cradle of life. So both are important. So I want you to get in the habit of scraping your arch, along the arch, scraping along the arch. Okay. Now, there's an energy point, and we'll get to that, and we'll do Yi Jin Jing, which is at the very bottom of your feet, right behind the ball area. So you see this cavity? We call this the gushing spring. So water comes up, right? Energy comes up, and touches it. So typically in the West, when we retire, we say, oh, it's time to flip my feet up. Well, that's not a good thing. You actually want to be active. And that's why we talk about the Buddhist zone, people that live in Okinawa, people that live in, they work continuously. And they believe that that's because the bottom of the feet is touching the soil. Okay? So I want you to massage that using your right thumb. Just massage it. And now it turns out that the center of your palm, this energy point that I mentioned, is fire. And this one is water. So the next one is for the mixing of the water and fire. Right? Like imagine that when you grow vegetable, the sun is important, the soil is important, the water is important. You need to kind of have that balance between the two, right? Now this tapping technique was invented by a very famous traditional Chinese medicine doctor back in the Tang Dynasty. And he actually invented a whole bunch of things. And when he was 120 years old, he invented this technique. Very famous. Now, first you bend your toes backward, then you form the empty hand, and they perfectly match. Okay? Now we're going to tap the bottom of the feet 30 times. Okay, ready? Go. Continue. Massaging between each of the toes, from the big toe to the small toe, and then back, and then open up the big toe and the second toe, massage some more, and press down before the point where before the bone meets, and then massage some more. Turn it upside down, scrape that tendon, relax, scrape the bottom of the feet, scrape the back, the heels, scrape the ball area. Massage the toes, massage in between the toes, scrape as if your life depends on it. And this one, your life does depend on it. Okay? Alright, so now massage the bottom of the feet, right below the ball area. Bend the toes backward, form empty hand, get ready, go. Continue. Now, I want you to make sure you have enough room so we can jump. You jump around this much, okay? Right, this much. That's what we do. When we get to the very bottom, last part of the Yi Jin Jing exercise. Okay, now, a little bit of history. So there are actually many forms, many different style of what's called the Yi Jin Jing. And I'm not sure I want to get into the argument of which one is authentic. I always said there's no right or wrong. There's only what's right for you and what's not right for you. So if it works for you, then it's good enough for you. Now, on the other hand, my Dharma master, who someday you might know, is actually a Thai monk. He was from Malaysia, and then he had to went to Thailand and become a monk. He's also a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and then when he was young, he was taught by his grandfather, who was the bodyguard for Mr. Sun Yat-sen, who was actually responsible for overthrowing the Qing dynasty. It goes way back. And but on the other hand, this Yi Jin Jing technique was taught by his grandfather, but it was also taught by another master. And I actually wrote that up about the lineage. Doesn't matter. What matters is that this exercise, if you look at it from a modern perspective, it combines three elements: stretching, cardio, and then also muscle building. Now, Yi Jin Jing comes in 14 forms, covering all 12 meridians plus the principal channels in the back and in the front. We do that by first standing with the width of the feet like the width of your shoulder. Then you turn your toes inward. And then you loosen up your knees slightly to activate the calf. The calf is now called a second heart. So we let the fire rises. Okay? Now, remember now, this is called a well. This is the spring. So you need to align the opening of the well with the spring. So you open up your shoulder, and then relax your shoulder. Then you lean back your forehead, you tuck in your chin, because this is called a 100 meat. All of the chi comes together here. Finally, you take the center of your palm, what I call the chamber of labor, you point it downward. You point it downward such a way that you pull it back slightly so that this energy point is actually on both sides of the hip. Now, if this is the first time, I don't expect you to learn that right away, but just follow. Now, the first form is called spirit boosting palm. Okay? What we're doing is basically, I taught mechanical engineering, this is actually the reaction. You push the center sharply through the spine. Now, the way to do that is mind, body together. So there's a way to do that. First, you close your eye, and then you imagine your eye is looking at the center of your palm. So where the palm goes, the eye goes. Once you're focused on the center of the palm, your mind goes there. Where the eye goes, the mind goes. It's only when body and mind together that you push. Okay, ready? Now, I would say go, but that's not for you to push. That's for you to concentrate and push with your body and mind. Okay, ready? Take a deep breath. Relax. Go. And then back to the breath. Now, it's very important that every time we do an energetic exercise, putting ourselves in fight or flight, we come back and we meditate on the breath. And you say to yourself, I feel that I'm breathing in. I feel that I'm breathing out. And then you do for another breath. I feel that I'm breathing in. And I feel that I'm breathing out. Alright, so yang and yin, balance. Okay, ready? Second time, lift up your hands again. Don't look down, look straight ahead so the energy can go all the way to the top of your head. Again, first the palm, then the eyes, then the mind. Okay, ready? Go. Back to the breath, maintaining the harmony between yin and yang, maintaining the harmony between your autonomous nervous system. After 2 breaths, we're going to do one last time. Open. Get ready. Don't look down. Go. Back to the breath. The second one is called pointing. So pointing and the thumb are the same word. So basically, your concentration goes from the center of your palm to the thumb. You take your thumb, you point it to the hip. You lift it up slightly so you form an energy loop. Then you take up your 4 fingers, lock your fist, and then you lift up your thumb as hard as you can, as if you're lifting up 2 buckets of water. Now, when my master learned it from his grandfather actually put 2 buckets of water on his thumb. And then you relax without lowering your hand, maintaining the energy loop. Focus on your breath. One breath at a time. After the second breath, we'll do the second time. Lift up those 2 buckets of water as hard as you can, energizing the large meridian and the lung meridian. And then relax again without lowering your hand. One last time. And then this time, lower your hand and completely relax. Focus on your breath. Now, you should probably feel the inside of your mouth. Inside your mouth, if it's dry, it means that you're still in fight or flight. So you need to be completely focused on your breath. No thoughts, no random thoughts on your thinking mind. When you're really in the rest and digest, it reactivates the slide gland. So you should feel some wetness inside the mouth. Okay, now the third form is when we open a palm, it's called the beginner's mind. We take a thumb, we fold it across, we wrap it with the 4 fingers. This is what the baby do inside the mother's womb to energize the heart meridian and the pericardial meridian. You lift up your fist and you squeeze your fist as hard as you can. And then you open up your fingers without lowering them. Focus on your breath, feel the inside of your mouth. Now if you don't, you say, well, my mouth is still very dry. Well, don't worry. Put the tip of the tongue behind here, behind the teeth. Okay, second time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then relax. One last time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then let go. Relax. Let go. Drop it. Drop your hand. Relax. Okay, now we put the fist together in front of the belly button. You're going to take a deep breath without stopping until you get to your nose. Okay, ready? Breathe in. And then just up. Now we're going to close the elbow. And you're going to stretch the back as if you're cracking your back. Okay? You know that the athletes have these little spots on the back because they're doing what's called the suction cup on it, right? Because that's part of the exercise is to open up the energy points in the back. That's what we're doing now. Is that we just stretch the back and then relax. When I do this exercise, I always think of my mom. When I was young, she worked at home. She knit sweaters. And then one time she made me a sweater that was too small. And she said, put it on and just make it bigger. That's what I do. I put on a very small sweater and then just stretch to make it bigger because I want that sweater. And then relax. One last time. Stretch. And then relax. The next one called fist above the head. So raise your fist above the head, open your shoulder, open your fingers. You know, when you draw blood, the nurse says squeeze your fist. That's what we're doing. This is the cardio exercise. We roll our fist, 1 joint, 2 joint, We lock it with the thumb, and we just squeeze as hard as we can. And then relax. Let the blood come back to the fingertips. See the very body. One breath. Two breath. Open the shoulder again. Roll your fists and squeeze as hard as you can. And then relax. One breath. Check it inside now. One last time. Squeeze as hard as you can. And then relax. The next one's called stabbing the shoulder. Remember there's an energy point here called the well in the shoulder. So first you open, then you imagine you're grabbing two daggers and you point the daggers onto your well on the shoulder. You don't look down, you look straight ahead, and you stab and you feel the tightness in the back of your neck. It's all part of the gallbladder area. And then you relax. Completely relax. Roll and breathe in. Roll and breathe out. Second time, open the shoulder, grab the dagger, point the dagger on your shoulder, and stab. And then relax. One last time, stab. And then relax. The next one's called a cross. So we make a cross. It's as if you have two trees on the side, we're going to push down the trees. We're not punching, just push, okay? First we're going to do is we're going to rotate the wrist. Then we're going to form a fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and push. Now in Chinese it's called Sa Ji Bang. Sa Ji means the cross, Bang means avalanche. It's as if you push the cross the avalanche and you go relax, okay? Lift up your hand, second time, rotate your wrist, form your fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath and push. Really relax. One last time, lift up your hand, roll your fist, wrist, form your fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath. Now we do again, front hanging. So like this, do a bamboo pole, you hang your clothes, you lock your elbow, look straight ahead, there's a tree in front, rotate your wrist. Form your fist, take a deep breath and push. Second time. One last time. Yeah. The next two is muscle. So you look up, you see a bar, you're doing a pull-up. You grab the bar, you follow the bar. This is about this muscle. You pull yourself up, and then relax. After two breaths, follow the pole, pull yourself up, and then relax. See how important it is to yin and yang, right? After you do energetic exercise, give it equal time to restore the harmony. Get ready? One last time. And then relax. Okay, the next one is opening the bowl. I used to call this whipping the yellow page, and no one knows what a yellow page is. So if you know what a yellow page is, it's like grabbing the two halves of the yellow page. If you don't know what a yellow page is, then think about opening the bowl, bow and arrow. Open! And then relax. Second time, open, and then relax. One last time, open, and then relax. Put the fists together, stand up, bend, straighten out your back, collect all your sliders. And you say, I don't have any, well then you do it all. Swallow. under here. This is called the Dan Ten, the field of fire. Okay? So next time you do this, we will pay attention to the part where you focus on the breath. It's only when you focus on the breath that you have started. Now the next one is often overlooked, but it's actually very important for your neurological health, starting with your qi energy up to the spine. And so first I want you to do, make sure that you have enough room when you jump, you're not causing a collision, and make sure that the toes are pointing inward, the knees are unlocked, and the backs are straightened up, and the back of the hand are touching. And then you lower without standing up on the knee, right? You lower all the way down, and you lock your elbow, you look straight down, and then you squeeze your fist one time, back of the hand. You squeeze the second time. You squeeze your third time. And then you flip your hand, you focus on the center of your arm. Now this is how we're going to jump. We're not going to jump very far. This is not Olympic. You're just going to focus on the center of your palm, make sure your knees are still bent. You take a deep breath, breathe in. Breathe out, empty hand. Breathe in. Palm facing forward, lower your knees. See that big rock in front of you? Just push. And then take a deep breath. And then take a deep breath out. And meditate. Meditate on the Qi. So you say, what does that mean? Well, first, we're going to sit properly. We divide the body into 7 parts, which is called the 7 support point sitting posture. We sit like a bell. So imagine that the whole body, the whole torso is like a bell. The feet are the pedestal to the belt, so you make sure that if you can, next time, if you need to, put some blankets and pillows so you're not using your muscle. Then you relax your hand. Now is not the time to do hand postures, just relax your hand. The third one's the spine. So if I sit like a bell, the spine is the clapper inside the bell. I need to hang that clapper onto the ceiling. I go from the bottom of my spine, I stretch my spine all the way up. Then I lean back and relax. Then I take my shoulder, I raise it as high as you can. I open that shoulder and I relax the shoulder. Now I take my forehead, I lean back, putting the ears on top of my shoulder, and I tuck in my chin so that I'm looking down up to 4 feet. I close my eyes, but I don't shut my eyes. The eyes are like the drapes to my window. I just lower my drapes, relax, just like the baby. If you see a baby sleeping with the eyes shut, means they're pretending. They just sleep with the eyelid relaxed. You can actually sometimes see the inside out. And finally, you want to take the tip of the tongue, put it behind the teeth, where the teeth meets the roof of the mouth, it's right behind your portion. Now I want you to feel your body. And that was a lot of energetic exercise. You feel a lot of tingling in your body. You feel something going on, it's hard to describe. What it is like the Qi is just wandering around. So we have pets in the family, they get called zoomies, right? So that's like the Qi is doing zoomies in the body, just running around, bouncing off the walls. What we want to do is we want to collect all the Qi into our dantian. How do we do that? First, we start with knowing. I know that I'm breathing in. I know that I'm breathing. Now you do what's anchored. You anchor your mind on the belly button. Actually, more precisely, you anchor it right below the belly button, about 1 finger. That's called the seed of Qi. This is the energy point that when you were inside the medicine room, not only using the umbilical cord to transport physical resources, here you transport energy. Now, right behind here, I usually call that your lower back, the bottom of your spine. Actually, more precisely, is another energy point right behind here. And it's called the door of life. If you can, I want you to straighten your spine, lean forward, and then lean back. When you lean back, hold your hip in place so you can feel some pressure, some stress on the lower back. That's your kitty. Now, if you ever study internal energy practice, they have a diagram that shows four like fireballs. One in front, one in the back, two on the side. Now I want you to focus on the belly button, somewhere in the belly, not so precisely in the beginning. And when you breathe in, just open your stomach by pointing that belly button forward. And then when you breathe out, bring in your stomach by bringing your belly button, as if you bring it all the way to your back, all the way to the spine. Breathe in, open the stomach, bringing the belly button forward. Breathe out, bringing the stomach in, collapsing the stomach, bringing the belly button back. Right for that time. No, breathing in. No, breathing out. Okay, we ran out of time. Then just do that for 3 minutes, and then we do the second part before we finish class. Now, this first step is called, if I translate it literally, cultivating. It's called mindful of your breath to cultivate your qi. Right? And it's part of a ancient Taoist practice called microcosmic orbit. Now, actually, it came from India. It actually came from India. I'll talk about that after we finish. And the next one is called cultivating the Qi. It's called mindful of the Qi to cultivate the mind. So what does Qi mean in this case? Qi just means the static electricity that you generate in your dantian. Dantian is your intestines. So when you breathe with your stomach like this, you're activating the diaphragm, you're massaging the intestines, and basically you're creating some static electricity. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to guide it on the spine. So back to the breath. Feel that you're breathing in. Feel that you're breathing out. Now I want you to focus now on your lower back. Remember there was an energy point right behind the belly button. You can just put it in the lower back or you can put it more precisely. It doesn't really matter at this point. And when you feel that you're breathing in, I want you to move from the bottom of your spine, up your spine, until you get to the top of your head. And as you do that, I want you to stretch your spine. It's very important that you stretch your spine out. When you get to the top of your head and you feel that you're breathing out, I want you to come down through your forehead, through your nose, through your tongue. That's why the tongue needs to be connected. All the way down, back to the belly button, or more precisely, back to the sea of Qi. But as you do that, I want you to lean back and relax. When you breathe in, start from the bottom of your spine, move towards the top of your head, stretch your spine. As you breathe out, lean back, relax until you come back to the belly button. One breath at a time. Let's sit for another 3 minutes. Okay, open your eyes, end of class. So I mentioned that this is an ancient meditation technique by the Taoists or microcosmic orbit, and with the idea that when we meditate, we're trying to bring the body and the mind together. So when we talk about yoga, the word is yoke. It's the piece of wood that they put in front of the oxens. So as they pull the cart, they synchronize. So the idea is that yoga is really a spiritual practice that synchronizes the body and the mind. And just that when it came to the Chinese, they understand that the Qi is actually the bridge. So by focusing on the Qi, they automatically bring them together. So you can call that Qigong meditation, or you can just call that Qi-based therapy, or whatever. It really doesn't, the name doesn't matter. Now, as you practice this, it takes more than 3 minutes, it takes more than once a week. But my masters start to call this practice the wandering dragon chasing the world. Here is that if you concentrate on this and you're practicing so that you're not thinking about anything else, you're just feeling your body as you breathe in, you're feeling your body as you breathe out, what we call sensation but no thinking. Don't use your thinking mind. Use the sensation, which is your spine. Right? Because all your nerves ending comes to the spine. It's only after you're connected it goes to the brain. And this is actually the most important part of your intellectual system. This is just the intelligence. Right? It actually gets in the work. So just feel that you're breathing in, you feel that you're breathing out. Don't judge. You just feel it. And eventually, very quickly, you do feel something rising. You do feel something rising. And if you use the Western perspective, basically you're creating static electrons. So all you have to do is provide electric potential, then the current will flow. And the electric potential comes from the chamber between the left brain and the right brain. You just have to will it. Right? You just have to will it. And then eventually you feel that energy rising in you. My master called that the pearl. So if you ever see dragon dance, dragon dance is different from a lion dance, right? Dragon dance, you have this long dragon, a bunch of people holding up the dragon, and then you have one guy wearing a mask, and he's going around with a stick, and on top there's a pearl. And the idea is that the dragon always chases the shining object. So it goes where the pearl goes. And so the pearl is the chi that's rising in you, and you're the dragon. But you're not wandering the dragon. So your mind goes everywhere. And so what you want to do is focus on that energy, and it goes up, and it comes down. And then eventually, you need to learn how not to use your thinking mind. And so you don't just stop in the top. You don't try to force it, beat it into the system, but rather just relax. Let it flow up. Imagine there's a cloud on top of you. The dragon sees the cloud. Say, oh boy, that's my home. Let it go. And then when you breathe out, you will come back. Right? So that's the key. So this is one half of our Qi practice, where we focus Qi as in the energy in the universe that happens to pass through us. And with understanding that if Qi actually passes through you, then you're going to be healthy. You're going to be healthy by definition. And so what is that one being that has life and no life energy? Silence. So when you look at people, you say, oh man, this guy is not well. Because he doesn't exercise, doesn't eat right? And you know, it just doesn't look right. So for me, he's like a zombie. Okay, so that's one half. And so when Tim comes back, he's going to talk with the asana, which is one of the 8 limbs of practice, and then I will do my half, which I alternate. So next week we're going to do the breathing exercise. In this case, Qi means air. Okay? Any questions? Any comments? And I apologize for giving out the wrong address. I should have known. Actually, one guy actually said, Danny, I came and I couldn't find the door. And I thought, well, I didn't listen properly, and I thought maybe he was too shy. He didn't want to do service. Turns out that he went to the right address, which is the wrong address. I want to see all of you next week.
Thank you.
Namaste. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, can we clean up? Just
Very
fold
good.
it, just fold it back, put it back into the, and then we turn off the website. Mama wants to say hello. My mom wants to say hi.
哦，边走啊？
啊？
啊，頭先嗰度。
啊。